I couldn't think of a cold open for this one, and also I'm like extremely sick, so anyone who's here for the first time, this is not what I normally sound like. Hello everybody and welcome back to Soul Studios. I'm your host Soul, and Hollyleaf is certainly a character. Today we're talking about a Warrior Cats character, Hollyleaf, like I just said. If you clicked on this video thinking it would be like a Moon Kitty essay video, I'm sorry, it probably won't be. I'm not that professional. I'm pulling a lot of stuff from the Warriors Wiki, so if I say something that is not factual, then blame that. Also, I barely remember the book she's in because it's like the main series she's in is my least favorite series. So, Hollyleaf was a part of the secret litter that Leafpool and Crowfeather had after their whole fling, raised by Brambleclaw and Squirrelflight. Not much to say there. It happened, and it was a large part of the second half of the third series. When it was time to become an apprentice, Hollyleaf initially started as a medicine cat apprentice. This is something that I never remember, and I don't see it discussed a lot in the fandom. Or maybe I'm just ignoring everybody discussing it in the fandom. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's very important to her character. It's just something that happened. And I guess is also a good intro into her main character trait, which is wanting to be the best for her clan, wanting to follow the warrior code to the best of her ability. She wants to be like the ultimate warrior. This is a trait that actually, I think, ruins her character, for me, personally. She thought that becoming a medicine cat apprentice would be like the epitome of doing what she could for her clan. But she wasn't good at it. She couldn't really remember stuff. She was very forgetful. And this resulted in her switching places with Jayfeather and becoming a warrior cat apprentice. And she was a lot happier there. I think a horrible thing, and I realized this while writing this script, is like she switched being into a warrior cat apprentice, but she didn't get Brightheart as a mentor. See, Jayfeather went to Leafpool. She was the only medicine cat at the time, but Brightheart just like Firestar was like, this one's not disabled, so you don't need this apprentice. And I don't think she ever got an apprentice again. She might have later on, but I don't think she did. Anyway, we're talking about Hollyleaf. The wikis, I don't know how to say that. Is wiki or wiki? And I'm gonna say wiki. I don't care. I'm sick. I can do what I want. The summary there jumps from her becoming a warrior cat apprentice straight to after her and her brothers become warriors and the fire scene with Ashfur. I would say nothing important really happens in between this, but that'd be lying. That's just, the wiki goes further in depth, but as the summary, that's the most important stuff. Before we continue though, I think it's good to come back to, Hollyleaf's personality. Her wanting to be the best for her clan and following the warrior code and everything. This is not a bad characteristic. In fact, it's one we've seen a lot in the Warriors Cat series before now. Fireheart/Star wanted to do everything he could for his clan. He wanted to prove himself. Brambleclaw in, series 2 wanted to prove himself worthy, like he wasn't his dad. He's like, I'm not Firestar, I'm better than him. So at this point, this characteristic isn't really something new. What's new is the degree that Hollyleaf takes it to. Instead of this simply being a part of her personality, this has become almost her entire personality. And I think it makes for a really annoying character overall. For several books, Hollyleaf's narrative is just boring. You can only drill home that one point so much. Hollyleaf is limited by her fear of breaking the warrior code. I wanted to say nothing really important happens between them becoming apprentices and the fire scene. It's not true. Stuff does happen. It just doesn't feel important or even memorable, because it all just drags. I totally and utterly forgot that Soul is a part of the series and actually has a lot of influence on Hollyleaf and the three in general. There's also a point where they travel to the tribe of Rushing Water, which is when Jayfeather tells them the prophecy at Hollyleaf and Lionblaze. He's like, oh, by the way, understand that through everything that happens, and I think this is a really big point, Hollyleaf's thoughts revolve almost entirely around how she can follow the warrior code and how these new events affect her serving the warrior code, and it's boring. It's so annoying. It's not fun to read about a character who only wants to follow the rules all of the time. She has a hard time helping cats sometimes because she's like, This doesn't follow the warrior code, especially if it's someone from another clan. And a true conflict for Hollyleaf, and a small turning point, but not a big one, because a lot of books follow after it, and her narrative doesn't get any better. But, like, this one turning point is the fire scene itself, which is a big thing. It's what the Series 3 is really remembered for. This whole plot line is huge. But in the fire scene, her reality is utterly shattered. She is the product of cats breaking the warrior and medicine cat code. How can she further follow the warrior cat code? How can she do what is right when her own existence is wrong? This is a small breaking point for Hollyleaf, which we later find out is actually a huge breaking point. And while I do and will continue to complain about the warrior code being Hollyleaf's main focus, I think her stress in keeping it and worries after breaking it makes for an excellent break here. In the fire scene moment and everything after, especially when we find out she killed Ashfur, and when we have the gathering scene, and finally she runs away. All this is culminating to one big, like, oh my god, poor Hollyleaf, her reality is shattered. But that breaking point, we don't get to see the full extent of it until, like, the very end of the series, and this is only, like, book 3. Hollyleaf, after this point, makes a lot of wrong choices. But between those wrong choices, these books can, like, the Series 3 continues to drag. Hollyleaf killing Ashfur happens, but we don't know who has killed Ashfur at first, so we're stuck in the Hollyleaf guilt train, which is somehow still tainted by, how can I still follow the warrior code? And it makes for really boring reading. It feels like something should be done, someone needs to do something, but for a long while, nothing happens. There is resentment galore, but absolutely nothing happens. Again, I dislike reading this series because of this. You don't reveal something like that, and then absolutely nothing happens, especially for a cat whose entire reality has just shifted. Finally, towards the end of the series, Hollyleaf announces her heritage to the Gathering. One of the worst decisions ever made, but one she made to ease her guilt, to atone for breaking the code. She tries to force Leafpool to eat death berries, which is trying to kill the cat who caused her existence, who caused this break in the code. She killed Ashfur, someone who would have used this secret to hurt others, to manipulate others, to break the code. She finally runs away, afraid that her presence in this clan is itself a break in the code. I have always viewed Hollyleaf as something of a fanatic. Everything she does is for the good of the clan and the code. Everything she does is done with a purpose, even if that purpose makes no sense to anyone else. While it's a mindset I did not enjoy reading, I think it's important. Hollyleaf feels like a lesson in obsession. And I'm sure it wasn't meant as anything deep, but when you write it out and look at her reasons and look at what she was thinking about all of the time, you find that she was set for doom from the start. I'm not sure if it was meant to be a parallel to religious obsession, but that's what it feels like. She feels guilt and resentment, and she's trying to atone for things in every way that she can think of, even in ways that further break the code she wants to keep. Hollyleaf spends what I believe is close to a year in the tunnels, if we're going by Dubwing and Ivypool's ages when she's reintroduced. I have not read Hollyleaf's novella, so I won't pretend to know what she was doing in there, reflecting, I hope. She is reintroduced into the clan after being found by Ivypool and Blossomfall in Series 4, and everything is crazy awkward. Like, really awkward. Reading Omen of the Stars and seeing Hollyleaf trying to be normal was sad. She's been away for so long, and she still feels guilt. This time for all that she has done, not what's been done to her. She doesn't know how to make up for the things she did, the lives she ruined. Until the final battle at the end of Omen of the Stars, I don't think Hollyleaf feels any sense of peace whatsoever. And I don't think at any point during her reunion was she comfortable. It's not until she's fighting and she's protecting and in the end dying that she feels like she's made up for things. And I think that's incredibly sad. And again, it's just like a really good reflection on religious obsession and the lengths people go to, and then maybe afterwards coming back into an almost normal mindset, people will look back and be like, oh god, what have I done? I have mixed feelings on Hollyleaf. On the one hand, she made Power of Three a really long read and a really annoying one, and I could not and still cannot understand her obsession with the warrior code, even with the religious parallels. On the other hand, she has an incredibly sad story, fueled at first by intense devotion to a set of rules, and ending with just wanting to make up for the damage she had done because of them. There's a lot of guilt and a lot of trauma to Hollyleaf's story, and this video is short, it just is, I apologize, but it's chiefly because Hollyleaf's story is very complex, and I'm not the person to go to unravel all of that complexity. I'm not a therapist. I've said I'd give my opinions, and I will. As a character, I don't really like Hollyleaf at all. I don't like reading Power of Three because of her, and Jayfeather actually, but that's a video for another time. But I think her story is a good one in the long run, and an excellent lesson on some of this stuff. I think her relationship with Leafpool later on, even though it's incredibly brief, and is incredibly brief even when she's in StarClan, is really sweet, and is a huge thing on forgiveness, and there's a lot of religious parallels here, and I didn't think that Hollyleaf was supposed to be, like, a huge religious thing, but then I started writing this script, and I was like, oh my god, I've seen people like this, and it was incredibly interesting, and I still think it is, and I'm not going to go into all the backgrounds of religious obsession that this could parallel to, because I'm sure people have already seen it out in the world, especially in today's world. Yeah, but I do think her story is an interesting one. I just really don't like reading Power of Three. Thank you all so much for watching. Y'all stay safe, drink some water, remember to breathe, and I will see you in the next video.